There's been a crossing point here since, I think... It's
all right.
Will you get out of my bloody way? They did say that there was a Legoland in Brindley Place, actually.
That's not Legoland, mate.
Okay, and you... Hello, welcome to the vlog. You find me at home. Still trying to access my lost data. I have come to terms with the fact that I might well not get that back, and so I'll move on and do what I need to do. But what has come out of the woodwork in the last week is a load of footage that I took about 4 years ago with a friend of mine, Tom. You'll know Tom from Snagbro, the fishing YouTube channel that I've mentioned several times. When I first started this, when I first got the boat, because Tom's an actor or an ex-actor, we decided that we might actually be able to produce like a documentary about the Birmingham canals, and it was going to be called A Cut Above, because I was very interested in the fact that Birmingham was so high. So the documentary was going to be kind of all about that and why that was and how that it evolved that way, but also looking at, you know, how people live on boats, what other sort of leisure aspects there are involved with that. And anyway, he came to me and said, look, I know you've lost your data, why don't you use some of the stuff that we took for that? I'd never had access to it, it was all with Tom. The reason why we hadn't used it is it just wasn't professional enough. If you're going to present something to a TV company, it needs to be really slick and really clean. And though it's good, it wasn't as professional as it could be. Sound quality wasn't always great, it was inconsistent. Film work, you know, we should have taken more shots of certain things. When things didn't happen quite right, we should have gone through it again. And so, you know, some of the research, my research wasn't great, and therefore my delivery wasn't always great.
Camera's rolling.
Hi, my name's Paul Lumsden, and today...
Sorry, can you start again, please?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it again?
I can try.
Or
yeah.
do you want to just...
Oh, it's Snow Hill Station. The railways were from about 1840. They had started to have that impact. The other thing I did, I folded my arms and I hit the mic, and I think that will probably go bum bum.
It's rather than that, because I'm getting a lot of this stand.
So do a bit more of this, and then when I eventually go back round. But nevertheless, there's some really nice stuff. Excuse me, cat. But some of the stuff was very nice, and I thought, well, would you just... Right. So this is Tilly. This is... You're a pain, aren't you, eh? She's a short-haired Oriental. I think there's a bit more moggy in her than there's supposed to be, but nevertheless, she's the love of my life, aren't you? Other than Mrs. L, of course. Right, yeah, say hello to the world. Right, now go. So there was some really good footage there. And so I thought, well, let me see if I can just cobble something together. So that's what I've done. It doesn't necessarily make full sense because we kind of abandoned the project. But I think I've been able to create a narrative. And this first one's going to be about climbing up from Salford Junction through up into Brindley Place, ultimately. So I hope you enjoy this. And I'm still waiting for that good news. Let's hope that happens in the next week. Hi. My name's Paul Lumsden, and today I want to talk to you about canals. Not just any old canals, Birmingham canals. Now, I'm a Brummie, I've lived here just about all my life, and I was never aware of all this engineering and history that was beneath my feet. I lived up there in the metropolis, I was just getting on with my life. Now, I've recently bought a narrowboat, and this has opened up a completely new hobby to me, and made me realise just what I've been missing all this time. Now, this canal is the Birmingham Fazeley Canal. It's built by John Smeaton. The reason for this canal is Birmingham was missing something, a link to London. So Fazeley, where this canal goes to, is on the Coventry Canal. The Coventry Canal runs all the way to Oxford. Oxford sits on the Thames, and voila, we have our link. Right, well I know that's the Tame because that's a big one, and I think what we've got over there is the River Ray coming in. I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea where Hockley Brook is, sometimes known as Aston Brook, but the key thing here is what we have a confluence of 3 water sources, so a junction, a natural junction. On top of that, we have an 18th century junction. We have the Birmingham Fazeley Canal joining the Grand Union Canal, joining the Tame Valley Canal. You can go in 4 directions from this junction. On top of that, we have the might of the M6 approaching Spaghetti Junction, Gravelly Hill interchange. This is the centre of the country, guys. This is where it all happens. Might not be the capital city, but we have junctions, natural, 18th century, and right up to now, all around us. It's absolutely fantastic.
So we've looked at it lots and we've talked about it a bit. I suppose we better bring the boat round. So the Carter Arm is a remnant of the past. It's no longer navigable unless you've got a canoe. And it used to run up to, I believe, what was called the Aston Coach Steelworks. So here we are, going through the bottom lock of the Aston flight. And there are 11 locks of the flight. Well, that's where we've come from. And that's where we're going. And at last, we're approaching the top lock. Look at those sexy calves. The buildings are getting taller, the city looms.
Now, about half a mile up this flight of locks is Brindley Place, a place where many of you will have had a drink or a meal or just a day out. And Brindley Place is named after James Brindley, master engineer who brought the first canal into Birmingham. So we're going to take you through the Farmer's Bridge flight of locks. It's absolutely stunning. It's so photogenic, and it shows just how the 21st century is building over the top of the 18th century history. There are so many amazing buildings, so many structures, and it's not spoiling history at all. In fact, in my opinion, it's building on it. And I'm so excited to take you on this journey with me.
Well, I suppose we'll get this boat through these 13 locks then. A bit of single handing here into the bottom lock of the Farmer's Bridge flight. I mean, what have we got here? Look at this. And the canals are festooned in these sorts of little buildings. And I'm sure if I researched it, you'd find out exactly what it was. But this looks like some sort of lockkeeper's cottage or the office of his day. This is where he sat and took payment for things. I don't know, something like that. But, I mean, it's fantastic. It's even got its own fireplace. So I dare say they've had a stove, a kettle on the brew there. Brilliant. And there you go. Railways. I mean, railways had a massive impact on canals. From 1840, they started to sort of have that impact. And by 1850, the trade on canals, the goods carried, had fell off by some 2/3. Now, I mean, this had a massive effect on boatmen's wages, and to a degree where the families had to move in with them onto their boat, and they lived life on the boat. And people looked down on them quite badly. They were seen as travellers, which was a great shame. They still had to earn a living. Now, the railway companies, they were guilty of them buying up the canals and in some cases filling them in and using them as railways. That's obviously the canals are following a nice level route, suited railways fine. So this is Snow Hill Station. These are the arches that lead to Snow Hill. So Snow Hill was built in 1852. During that time, from 1852 to now, it's had several transitions. It started out as a wooden shack. It was then made more permanent. It was then demolished. It was rebuilt again. It was then demolished. It went out of service for a long time. It was eventually demolished again. And now we see it in its current day. The lines are electrified, and we have another thriving station in Birmingham. What we have here is a fantastic example of three modes of transport. We've got the rail line going into Snow Hill Station, we've got Livery Street Bridge, so we have a road, and obviously we're on the canal. Now, the two panels there, you may wonder what they are. Well, they're actually from the war. They've not been there since the 18th century. And they were used by the firemen to be able to drop their pumps into the canal to get water onto the burning city in the event of a blitz. So, graffiti. Some people love it, some people hate it. But like it or not, it is part of what makes up the urban landscape. I mean, yeah, I'll grant you, some people, they just want to do that and say, yeah, that's my name. But then, you know, most people who do this, they're trying to express something. They're trying to express their art, their political views, just their inner self, you know. They just want to try and tell the world something. It doesn't always look nice, but when you look around, it does actually colour up quite a dowdy grey building. And the kids of today, well, they'll see it and they don't even think twice. It's just part of what they've always seen around them. People of my age, a little bit different. We can tend to frown upon this. We think it's vandalism. And I absolutely get that. I feel it makes the city look like the city. So what we have here is a fantastic example of that 18th century lock under an 18th century bridge. But over the top of this will be the modern metropolis. It'll be sitting over the top of this. We've just come through it there. It doesn't fail to amaze me every time I come through this. I'm filled with awe and nostalgia. I think it's just fantastic. It's great when the water is flowing down the Farmer's Bridge because there's some very interesting bywashes. Makes for some good photography. I mean, look at that. That is typical of what you see on the canals. I've done a bit of research. I think that's the one that goes to an old timber yard at the end of the day, but you know, you've got the modern metropolis again sprawled over the top now. It's fantastic. It looks amazingly nostalgic. I could just picture what was through there. Then we've got this modern thing here. This is great. This is great. But you'd have thought they'd have thought about the colour, because who's going to clean that? They did say that there was a Legoland in Brindley Place, actually.
That's not Legoland, no.
So this is an interesting one. Saturday Bridge, interesting name. I mean, obviously it's a very modern bridge, so it wouldn't have been here in the 1790s, would it? Several evolutions, I dare say. But I think this is where they used to come for their wages on a Saturday. There we go, Saturday Bridge, possibly named after the alleged practice of paying boatmen's wages at this point on Saturdays. So, I'm not the only one who's vague. So here we are at the top of the Birmingham Fazeley Canal. We've climbed 151 feet from Spaghetti Junction, going through 24 locks. It was a hell of a journey. What we have there is a button island. Now that's not been there for 250 years like the canal. That's actually been there since World War II. And it was put there to protect the railways that run in the tunnels beneath. If a bomb had hit the canal and breached it, they needed to dam the flow, so they could go off the edge of the button island across to the bank and stop the water loss into the tunnels below.
So I hope you find that interesting. It's certainly been interesting looking over some stuff that was shot 4 years ago at a time when still got the crash board on. The boat looked very shiny. There was no solar panel on there. It altogether looked a lot cleaner. I don't think I looked too much younger, actually. I was certainly bigger. I've recently lost a few stone, I have to say. But yeah, so hopefully I've got some stuff to go at now. If the other stuff doesn't come along, I can pick away at that. There's plenty more of that to come. It just takes a bit of trawling through, because a lot of those files that we took 4 years ago were rubbish. They were out of focus, or I made a mistake and we had to shoot it again and things like that. So, but I have to trawl through them all to find out which ones are usable and which ones can create a narrative. But I think I've got there, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do click like, and if you haven't already subscribed, please do, because my channel is not growing. I think it's just the same people keep watching the films.
but I very much appreciate you watching anyway. All right, see you next time. Bye bye.